Sickos Club.
Sickos Club.
Hey, come here. You like pro wrestling? We got a little something for you. Two fans, 3,000 miles away. We each been watching for more than 30 years. Celebrating the art form, the action, the homoeroticism. We ain't rating matches. We ain't analyzing stories. We ain't experts. We just sit down, shut up, and mark out! Hello, everybody. This is Blade Daily, returning to you. After solid 10 days of not being around, I'm back, baby. I'm back. That's right. And I'm back here with my good friend, the man of the hour, the man with the power, Antione Raphael. Antoine, hello.
Hello, Blade. Hello. Long time no
Yeah,
hear.
long time no hear, my friend. It's been too long, I say. But glad to be back with you, and glad to have you back with me, because we're doing almost like an emergency episode of Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out tonight, because our boy, this episode is basically called Holy Shit, Konosuke Takeshita won the IWGP World titles. Saree and Syuri are amazing, and oh yeah, let's make our WrestleDream picks episode. That's the long name of this episode.
Love the name.
Yeah, it's not bad, right? So let's just get into it, man. Let's just get into it. So I get back into town. I was on the road with my pops. We went to the Baseball Hall of Fame. We went to Niagara Falls. We went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. And it was all very fun. And then I come back and I'm like, oh shit. So the day I'm going back to work, this last Monday, is also the night that Takeshita is wrestling ZSJ for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. I knew there was no way I was going to watch it live, but I was determined not to get it spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an idiot. I woke up. I opened Blue Sky instinctively, and just right there. Like, I just heard that Konosuke Takeshita became the IWGP World Champion. And I'm like, God,
why did you do that to yourself?
I was asking myself the same thing. So, I didn't even get up. I was supposed to be at work, and I'm going to be honest, I was clocked in, but I still opened and had to watch the match. Had to watch it. Fucking epic match with ZSJ and Konosuke Takeshita.
Yes.
I had a pretty clear, it seemed pretty clear to me that this would be a title change. They've been building this like, they're trying to create anticipation. I didn't get to see that entire documentary that they made with Takeshita that New Japan made that's on YouTube, but I did watch about half of it, and it's just clear to me they're building him up as one of their big stars. Did you get a chance to see that?
I had not. I haven't seen the YouTube interview. However, I decided to rewatch the match again, and some of the most telling parts of what I still think New Japan does probably the best job when it comes to interviews, because they typically take them right after the match. So I've seen the after match commentary, and what he said after the match. I did see there was a KOPW press conference after said match the very next day that he was at. I want to watch that as well, too, to see what he said. But he said a lot of telling things.
I want to give, props to Zack Sabre Jr. He's been he's the MVP of New Japan in so many ways. And, Hiroki Goto gets injured. He's filming a movie, and he's gone. He ends his fairy tale title reign kind of earlier than they expected him to, I think, for multiple reasons, obviously. But he's gone, and Zack Sabre Jr. steps up, becomes the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion once again, and has, a tremendous G1. Zack Sabre Jr. easily top 5 best in the world right now.
People forget he also defended the title a few times even before the G1.
Right. And you could plug him in basically anywhere in the kind of running for best in the world. Yeah, right now. I mean, I would say it's, Bandito, Takeshita, Zack Sabre Jr., and a couple other people. And look, if any of them were number one at this point, that I'd be fine with it, because that's how close it is to me. I thought it was interesting because in the G1, when Zack and Takeshita wrestled in the playoff, I saw some people say they didn't have great chemistry, and I was really kind of shocked by that, because what I thought was more like it wasn't as smooth as like Zack's matches can be sometimes, and that's good because it felt a little more real to me. It felt like, more of a struggle, and it's honestly maybe my favorite match of the entire tournament.
It felt
just
like
weird.
a match that it felt to me like a match that what UFC was when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
When it very first was mixed martial arts, because Zack is such a technical wrestler,
Mm-hmm.
and Takeshita is so physical that it really was a contrast in styles, and I loved that match. You could see the chemistry that they had and what was coming. And look, watching the match again, as I did the title match, you see that you see how Zack adjusted more
Mm-hmm.
to his style and showing that his physicality was on the level of Takeshita's. So it kind of was like watching a progression of two talents that are that good grow literally as they were able to have more and more consistent matches.
Well said. I think that you're absolutely right. I mean, Zack definitely was more strike heavy in the title match. He was kind of, proven that he could hang with Takeshita. It's a brutal match. I mean, these guys beat the living shit out of each other.
Yes, they did.
Oh my God. And Zack got the better of Takeshita in the strike exchange a few times, and I thought that was cool. They didn't have Zack go out in any kind of he didn't get cheated. He didn't look weak in loss. I mean, he got the living shit pulverized out of him. And so did Takeshita, honestly. And
yes, he did. My favorite part of it is the fact that his mouth was so bloody at the end. He had to earn that win. Zack wasn't just going to let him have it. Zack is more of a truth teller, and he covers it with his jokes, with his commentary and what he says. But he very much, and a lot of the New Japan locker room, because we'll eventually get there, right, is and was worried about the fact that he is he good enough to represent them with that said strong style, with that said talent that he has. So with all of the doubts, I think that not only does Zack's performance help put him over that well, but I loved the post-match as Zack walked away. The very first thing that Takeshita said was, "I know how you feel about this championship, and I will treat it accordingly." I know that's small words, but for anyone who's listening, that will tell you what exactly is to come.
Yeah, well, and I think that honestly, with the state of New Japan right now, they have a bunch of guys who are just about where they need them to be, but they're not quite at the level of Takeshita. And that's just the simple truth. And if those guys were uncomfortable with him representing New Japan, get better, guys. That's what I got to say. Like, get on Takeshita's level, because he's absolutely good enough to represent any wrestling promotion. He's gone from one of those guys, him and Bandito, Bandito is my dude. And so is Takeshita. And they are the two guys that I've had my eye on as like, could they be the first Japanese wrestler? Could Takeshita be the first American World Heavyweight Champion, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Could he do that as the first Japanese-born wrestler? Could Bandito be the first? Well, he wouldn't be the first because Alberto Del Rio did it, but at least the first AEW men's world champion who was born in Mexico. And the answer to both, I think, is yes. And I think that they have both shown a unique charisma and a unique way of connecting with the crowd. Like Takeshita, when he first came over, you know, he was like losing a lot and he was just kind of earning some credibility with the audience. He earned it so fast. I mean, he earned it so fast. He earned it really fast in New Japan as well. When he did the G1 last year and he didn't win that tournament, he just straight up outclassed a lot of people. And the crowd was like ravenous for him. The only time I ever heard Takeshita get any boos was in that match with Evil, and the announcers clearly expected him to get some boos in this match. I didn't hear a lot of booing. I heard people cheering Takeshita primarily in this match. Was that your experience as well?
Especially upon rewatching the match, I think people will have to really truly understand the Japanese crowd. The announcers, especially Chris Charlton, acknowledged the fact that he was getting booed. Even after the match was over, his in-ring interview was so excellent because he actually addressed the fact that he was getting booed. Right around probably like the 25 to 30 minute mark, you really see how the crowd is invested in what's happening. What you have to understand with the New Japan crowd is they show their love and appreciation with less bravado, I guess we could say, as we do over here. You know, if they're doing the count along with you, you have gotten them. Whether it's for either wrestler. And that's where the point it had gotten to, where it was more, you could tell how split the crowd was just because they loved what Zach was doing just as much as they loved what Takeshita was doing. So it did start to kind of go back and forth. During the post-match interview in the ring, when he addressed it and it was translated, he said, to those who booed me, because there were some, even after the match was over, you heard it here and there, but it was more overwhelmingly positive. I think so. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
He asked them, okay, go ahead. And everybody who was left gave their reaction, and it was still overwhelmingly positive. More than anything else, he has earned the respect of all New Japan fans. And I need everyone to kind of understand that. I wear AEW on my heart because I live here in Jacksonville. However, I am a New Japan fan, and it started with the G1, but it was solidified for me with that never openweight championship run, because no matter what, he was always defending that title. So he was always gone from AEW and coming back. And I'm still trying to understand the strength of this man's will to do all of that and put on excellent matches here and there and everywhere.
Yeah, well, it's insane the schedule he's kept, this year, and that he's going to be keeping, because he's going to be back in the States for WrestleDream, on Saturday. He's going to be teaming with Kazuchika Okada, so you've got the unified champion and you've got the IWGP heavyweight champion tag teaming against Bandito and Brody King for the AEW tag team titles. they're clearly building to something big with Takeshita and Okada. And so this is a very interesting situation because it makes you wonder. I think there's a plan between New Japan and AEW with Takeshita and Okada. I think that's something that's in the works right now. I think there has to be.
I think eventually there will be.
I think it's something to do with Wrestle Kingdom is what I would imagine. Because, you had said, I had heard anyway, that Takeshita's contract, with New Japan goes through the day after Wrestle Kingdom. Is that correct? Is that your understanding as well?
Yes, it does. And actually, some of the comments and after match interactions kind of give you a clue as to what really is going to happen. So it's Hiroki Goto came out.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's back. He's done filming the movie that he was filming, which I can't wait to see. And he asked specifically, guess you didn't think I was going to be the one to come into the ring, and asked, I want to be the first in line.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that is eventually coming. But as I said, I think his comments to Zach really say it all. And the fact that he addressed it without addressing everyone in the back, but still their leader, their guy, our guy, Zach, I'm going to treat it with the same level of respect. And Hiroshi Tanahashi is about respect, but he is also about New Japan. He knows that he helped rescue it at a time where it's at its worst. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like he wants to challenge Hiroki before Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I don't think that will be the main event of Wrestle Kingdom.
No, it's not. He actually addressed it in the interview and said that he actually does want to challenge Goto before Wrestle Kingdom, because he said, I don't want to go into Wrestle Kingdom without having defended the belt. So he is going to be in Japan, which kind of goes with my prediction for what's going to happen at WrestleDream. But it does still kind of leave the door open for Wrestle Kingdom, because one of the very first things he said, and I was thinking the same thing, was, you let Hiroki Goto come out, and you mentioned it as well, but none of the young guys came out. None of them.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that's by design or by not, it tells me either they don't or management doesn't think so. And management is Hiroshi Tanahashi. So he even addressed that fact. So I do see more things to come with some of the newer talent. I just don't know if it's going to be at Wrestle Kingdom.
I don't know if it will be. So I had a weird thought, and I don't think this is my idea. I think I saw somebody posit this somewhere.
Weird is good.
What's the biggest thing New Japan could do right now? Like, what's the biggest main event you could do for Wrestle Kingdom? And I had a just crazy idea, which is Takeshita and Okada title for title.
No, it will never happen. Because
probably not. No.
I wanted to sit here very quietly and
yes,
and I have missed you so very much. But I hate to break a lot of my fellow sickos' hearts here tonight. No, that is not going to happen. The Unified Championship is a wonderful title. That is the secondary men's championship in All Elite Wrestling. Mm-hmm. That is great. The IWGP World Heavyweight Championship men's division is respected and revered across the world for the last 40, 50, 60 years, however long you want to go. 1972, excuse me, was the established date, but they're not on the same level. I expect.
No, I'm not saying they're on the same level. No.
But also, I do actually also believe that with his comments, that tells me I expect him, and he has to have already agreed to this. And this is his lifelong dream. he will be in New Japan. They will highlight just the IWGP title.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested to see where they go with it, because they clearly are doing a parallel thing. There's something going on for him in America too. So it's like, you know, it's not like he's being written out, you know, so that he can go to Japan. Like he's going to be doing two things at once. And so I'm curious to see where that goes. Like, I mean, title for title was like, yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. But is it possible that Okada could challenge him for the IWGP title?
I think it's a possibility, but I think, and I really believe this, he is a New Japan guy now. I do not expect to see him as much in All Elite Wrestling in 2026 as we have been. I still expect to see him connected to Don Callis. I still expect to see Okada and him continue. I think they will lose at WrestleDream no matter what. He can't have that with the IWGP Championship, or people will revolt. So it's not to me, it's positive. It's a wonderful thing, but I think there is going to be more responsibility and understanding that the IWGP title has to come first in all cases right now.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on how long they plan to keep the title on him. You know, it's I would think like New Japan's not paying him what AEW's paying him. You know what I mean? Like, he's there because Tony let him sign with New Japan too. And so I would think, you know, just on a contractual level, like, he's probably getting paid the most by AEW over New Japan and DDT, right? And so I'm not sure what his ambitions are. You know, does he want to spend most of his time in Japan? Because if he does, that's cool. Or is that just part of some broader plan? And I'm not sure if it is or not. And it would be a fool's errand to try and forecast it too much, because at this point I've been wrong about everything. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for New Japan. I think it gives New Japan a shot in the arm to have Takeshita as their champion, and especially on an international scale, because I think Wrestle Kingdom, you know, I know that New Japan has said that, you know, a big part of their business plan is to recapture some of the Asian market that they feel they might have lost the last few years and be less international. They're clearly not coming to the States as much because of the fucking moronic policies we have going on here. They don't feel as safe coming to this country, and that's really, really terrible and sad. But
yes, sir.
It's an unfortunate reality, and I completely understand where they're coming from. So it'll be interesting to see what's next for him. I, again, want to say amazing work to Zack Sabre Jr., fantastic world champion. Zack also said, you know, people complaining about Takeshita not being a full-time New Japan guy is kind of ridiculous to him, because he is putting in the work that he can. You know, every time he can be there, he is there. But this is a guy under 3 contracts, and it's the first of its kind. It's the first time it's ever been done, and it's not like Hechicero, you know, who's really got a 4-hour flight from Mexico to wherever they need him to be in AEW. This is a guy who has to fly across the world to honor the rest of his contractual obligations. So massive respect to Takeshita, massive gratitude to Takeshita for this last year of matches. You know, I would say wrestler of the year to me is really down to him or Bandito. I think they have both kind of had a parallel track where they're both huge stars here, but they're also huge stars in their home countries. CMLL's business is way up every time Bandito's on the card. A huge reason they're selling out a lot of shows is when Bandito gets announced as taking part in it.
Absolutely. Especially the set of matches he just had with Hechicero. My goodness.
Yes. Ridiculous. And the match, you know, quite honestly, between Takeshita and Bandito, you know, was out of this world, mind-boggling good, So it's really just, pick your favorite, but both of these guys are having incredible years. I mean, you could give it to either one of them. And I don't think anybody else, is quite got the same level of just insane, like cross country, cross the globe travels and all that stuff to put in their, to qualify on the same level, I guess, this year for me.
A lot of what he said was very personal, was very much directed at the fans, and addressed what everyone's talking about is you're here and you're there. You don't respect us enough. That's really what it's about. It's about the respect of the fans and the honor. I know the money is great, but Tanahashi will always protect Japanese wrestling, and I really believe he would never have done this if he had a commitment. If he had a commitment and belief in this man. So I do kind of believe that whoever he does face at Wrestle Kingdom, he will win, and I think he signs another contract. So it's going to be a crazy couple of months for him. He's going to have a title defense in the next 2 months. He's got WrestleDream coming up. The champion usually joins the World Tag League towards the semifinals or finals in the shows that lead up when they're touring. So it will be interesting to see if he starts showing up there in December. But I couldn't be prouder of anyone on earth. If I could have named any wrestler, it had to be him. And he earned it. And I can't say enough to him and to Rocky Romero. So I even expect if they decide to turn him heel, Rocky goes with him. So I think it's going to be a fun ride. Just like he said, for those who cheered me, get ready for a fun ride.
Yeah, I think, and to clarify what I was saying earlier, I do believe that he will re-sign with New Japan for sure. I think that's definitely happening. I would imagine he's going to spend the least amount of his time in DDT. He was signed while he was still under contract with DDT to AEW. So I think they'll always be part of the mix, but I think it's going to be, gradually it already is kind of like where he's there a couple times a year, 2, 3, 4 times a year. And they usually do something really cool with him too. It's going to be interesting to see how he's used in AEW because, obviously they need to get their value out of that contract.
Absolutely. I think that's the most interesting part.
Yeah. It's just kind of fascinating to see how this plays out from here. And then you've got these, this growing group of guys from Mexico who are also wanting to sign dual contracts. I mean, Mystico's talking about it openly, like he wants a dual contract. So it's going to be fascinating to see how this works because it's just never happened before.
We're living history right now.
And I think you see, like for instance, I can just speak to this. I was already a New Japan fan before AEW, right? I knew a little bit about AAA and I knew a little bit about CMLL before AEW, but this year with them really leaning into that partnership, I've watched more CMLL this year than I'd probably watched combined in my entire life. And
I can honestly say this year is the most I've ever watched CMLL.
Yeah. And I think that flying under the radar, because it's not, the gate numbers that a WrestleMania is going to draw or something like that. It's the huge success of this global partnership that Tony has done with New Japan, with CMLL, the CMLL partnership with New Japan, like how robust and beneficial it's been towards everyone.
I love Fantastica Mania every year when New Japan goes to CMLL and they tear it up for 2-3 weeks, I think almost a month. It's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And then with Stardom kind of on the horizon, and some people showing up from Stardom occasionally, Syuri and hopefully many more. yeah, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. Like what you like, but I don't think there's anything more satisfying for me personally than seeing this era of wrestling where you have a global language of wrestling being spoken in all the countries that it can be right now. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's a really beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing, you sentimental dog, you.
Yeah,
And
I am a sentimental dog. That is true.
And I know our childhood memories are always important, and they are the things we hold on to. One of those childhood memories caused a very, very bad week for me. However, we won't discuss that here. But this era of wrestling, to have this much access, to have this many ways, you used to never... Tape trading was a thing, and it was so freaking hard. I don't know how people like Dave Meltzer did it and who he would get them from and how quickly he would get them. But the access, the camaraderie, the connection is stronger than it's ever been in my entire life, and it feels like it represents me, who I am, even more.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, when we come back, Antoine, we're going to talk a little bit about something else that happened on this very same show because it was really fucking cool. So stick around, people. All right. It's feeling a little rusty. I got to be honest. I'm feeling a little rusty being out of practice for like, a couple, 10 days, a couple weeks, not being on the mic, not being on the stick, but it's coming back to me. I'm remembering how to be Blade Daily again. Two people who never forgot shit, Antoine. The first match at King of Pro Wrestling for the IWGP Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Saree and Syuri tore it the fuck up. And between that and the Takeshita match with Zack Sabre Jr., these were the two highlights of the show for me by far. And I thought we should talk about them for a few minutes because these women beat the living shit out of each other, as I expected they would.
We could talk about it for as long as you like, because if I had to review the entire show, it was a good show top to bottom. Even the Evil match, by the way. But those were the two best matches on that entire card. And just the amount of holy hell that they kicked out of each other was just amazing. Yeah.
So you had, obviously, I'm less familiar with Saree than I am with Syuri. Shuri's got more of like the mixed martial arts with some pro wrestling, added in there, right? But I was not as familiar with the brutality of Saree, and just like her, I didn't see her in NXT. I know she was there for a little while. And then, left. How they didn't make it work with her, I have no idea, because holy shit, she could have been a huge star, in my opinion. And they blew it, and I'm glad they blew it. Thank you for blowing it with Saree, because we have her back. I get to watch her again. I'll take it. But the brutality of these two and the great story that the announcers were really, this is what New Japan really excels at, is explaining the history. It's when I watch CMLL, I wish there was an American announcer to help me understand the connection of these guys sometimes.
Me too. And Stardom, as a matter of fact, which, by the way, they are working on. There will be more English commentary in Stardom.
Yes, and I know Walker Stewart's going to be doing more work with Stardom as well, and I'm very excited about that. He's become so good. In such a short period of time.
Yes.
The improvement from last year to this year has been insane for Walker. His storytelling ability is incredible. It's kind of back to that balance. It seemed like Chris Charlton was having to kind of fill in the blanks a lot more last year, and that's not really Chris's forte.
Chris needs a partner. And when Kevin moved on, which broke my heart, and I wish him well, but Walker had to kind of earn that. And he would ramble sometimes but he picked up so well, and Chris is so good. But as you say, Chris, he's not that type of guy. He was having to wing it a little bit, and it got him in trouble. Walker's so amazing.
Right. Walker, I when they first added Walker, because Walker is like in his early 20s. He is a very young
People
man.
Forget he is. If you've ever seen him, if you haven't, Google him. You will be shocked at how young he looks.
I was on his LinkedIn. I saw his LinkedIn profile.
No.
And outside of his pro wrestling announcing, it's like he has like a couple retail jobs he worked. It's just insane. And when they first added him, I'm like, I get you like his voice. Like he's got this golden great voice, this perfect for announcing voice. But he didn't have, he was kind of like the opposite of Kevin Kelly, because Kevin Kelly, in my opinion, has a whatever voice, but he was so good at telling the stories. And Walker was the inverse, where he had that golden voice, but he didn't quite get how to tie it all together yet. Like Kevin could.
He didn't, because what Kevin was so good at is you could tell how much he cared. Like he has such a passion for Japanese wrestling. And Walker was just coming in there. I'm like, how is this guy really going to relate to it? And to do it in such a short amount of time, he had to dedicate, I can't even imagine how many hours a day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And spend a lot of time backstage, spend a lot of time with people who could help him get better. And man, it's really paid off, because he blew me away in this. And, CMLL could use somebody like a Walker Stewart to just... like for instance, when Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman have called a few matches like that Bandito's been in, when they do their commentary over a CMLL match, it's so refreshing, because I get so much more backstory and I understand so much more about what's happening and how these two performers are tied together.
You feel more invested in what it is that you're watching.
It's just, that's the way it works. That's wrestling, baby. It's all stories, right? Mm-hmm. So they told a great story here with Saree and Syuri. That they had a match when Saree was like 15 years old. 15. That they were 1-1-1. That they had, that Syuri's been the IWGP Women's World Champion before. That if she won this match, she would be the only 2-time Women's World Champion so far.
A good fact about Shorty is the fact that she's also competed in the UFC.
Right. She has a UFC background. No, that's really interesting. And, what I love about Joshi wrestling that they exploit to the hilt is the flexibility of the female form. And it's very, women generally are able to flex or stretch in ways that men cannot. And one of those things that was evidenced in this match was the Muda lock that Saree put on Syuri. Holy shit. She has her in the Muda lock, which we've seen, Mudo do. It's an awesome move. It's like an STF and like a reverse, like camel clutch thing almost at the same time. But Saree doesn't put her head next to Syuri's. She puts her head in the back of Syuri's head and is forcing her head into the back of her skull while she's pulling up on her chin, while she's got her in the STF. It looks so brutal. It was
just too, like, your body is not supposed to go in that many different directions.
No. And so, there's another part where, it looks like Saree's going to win the match and Syuri keeps kicking out. The other critical moment in the match, I had never seen this before, was Syuri hit a super, like, what would you call that? Like a super an Avalanche Kimura.
I do not, I will honestly tell you, I'll just be honest. I'm not going to be able to tell you because I swear on my goodness, I have never seen it in that fashion before.
Nope.
And it looked absolutely painful. So that's innovation. That's goes to their flexibility. That goes to why these two are so good. And Saree is finally going to be able to show to the world because she is more of an independent wrestler. She wrestles in Stardom too.
Right.
And she wrestles elsewhere, but she is not fully contracted to any single company.
Mm-hmm. Right. And the crowd booed her for it a few times. She was kind of the heel in the match just by virtue of the crowd. And she kind of started playing into it a little bit, which I thought was smart. But Syuri ends up pulling it out at the end of this match, which was a solid, I mean, it was what, a 25-minute match, something like that. They got a lot of time.
They got a lot of time. That is one thing I noticed. I would say about when they created the IWGP Women's Championship and they first started, the matches probably went about, when they put them on the New Japan show, maybe 10.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say that the first time I saw an IWGP Women's, it was when Mercedes first showed up in New Japan.
Yes.
It was at the end of the match with Kairi Sane and Tam Nakano. And that match got like 8 minutes. I mean, they had to do everything so fast. And even this year on Wrestle Kingdom, Mercedes wrestled in a match that got, she wrestled Mina Shirakawa.
Yes.
And that match got like 15 minutes. But the actual IWGP Women's match got like 10 minutes, maybe. And that I can't remember who it was at this point, but it was Mayu Iwatani versus I can't remember who, but it
was Iwatani as the champion at that time.
Yeah. Gosh. I can't remember who she wrestled, but it really didn't get a lot of time. And it was disappointing because it deserves so much better. And after watching this match, okay, so the crowd seems familiar with the two, but not as invested in them as they could be if they were on the shows a little more, right?
Exactly.
Because these aren't necessarily women this crowd is not necessarily just, familiar. They don't watch Stardom and New Japan both. They don't. Not all of them, And
not at the same time, if they do.
Right. And so what I would like is in the new year, just like I've tried to advocate for AEW to do, I would like to see more women featured in New Japan, on straight New Japan shows. Because if you want to sell out those Stardom shows each and every time they're on those shows, you got to have them where they're going to get the most eyes on them. And New Japan is the biggest promotion in Japan. And so let's be real.
Absolutely 100% correct. And it's even more so because Stardom and New Japan are owned by the same company, Bushiroad.
Right, Bushiroad.
They do have separate presidents that run. So Tanahashi does run only New Japan. And they do consider the IWGP Women's Championship as secondary to the World of Stardom Championship. And actually, during just recently, Miss Saya Kamitani has already come out and said she will be at Wrestle Kingdom.
Right.
So we know the Stardom title is going to be on the card.
Right.
I really think, especially with the post-match comments from Syuri herself, who said, I think I have earned the right to be on that show, that she will be on the show. And I expect in my early wishes for 2026 that this relationship between this connection, I should say, between both the men's and women's championships will be stronger and will have eventually that same level of honor and respect. And that is why Saree was champion, and that's why Syuri is champion.
Right. Well, and when you go back and you look at the title holders of the IWGP Women's Championship, I mean, it's a hell of a list. I mean, Oh,
It is a list you cannot poke holes in the people who
no.
were chosen.
Yeah.
Maybe in how the title switched or in a match
Mhm.
here and there, but the people who were
Mhm.
chosen, no.
They were all ace. Like it's a who's who of the greatest women's wrestlers in the world. You know, Mercedes Moné. You've had
Very same.
Kairi Sane. You've had
Mayu Utami.
Mayu. Yeah, and you've had Syuri twice. You've had Saree. I mean, this is an incredible list of champions, and I would just like to see the carryover more. And yes, I saw that Saya Kamitani is going to be a little more involved with New Japan in the next few months, and I'm excited about that. I think that's a great opportunity.
I'm so excited to watch this partnership. I sent a post and I can't believe it. It was 3 months or so ago. And I sent it directly to Walker Stewart and I can't believe he replied, but he said, but it was about that specific subject. And I just asked him, he replied nicely and said, we promise you that is in the works, along with providing all of the English commentary, making sure to mention more on the shows, that synergy and connection that is coming. It is finally here. We have waited and we've been nice and patient long enough, but I expect that IWGP Women's Championship to be held and embraced in that company, just like the men's title is. And that level of commitment is here and it's going to get stronger.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's cool. You know, I mean, that's what I like about New Japan, especially the English speaking reps of New Japan right now is they know that they've taken a step backwards with the international audience a little bit as far as popularity. Right. And so they are so like everybody matters. If you reach out to them, they want to interact with you.
Yes, they do.
And so I would highly recommend it. Like if you're a big New Japan fan, tell them so. You know, tell them what you want to see because that's how they know what to give you, you know?
Yes,
so
they are known for replying, and their wrestlers are known, especially for those English-speaking fans, of paying attention when those fans are following them. A lot of them want to eventually, and they will, test their mettle here.
So, Antoine, why don't you share with us what was said in the post-match by Syuri and Saree?
I expect with their comments, let's start with Saree. The most telling thing that she said to me was she was not the most, I was not the most strong tonight. But I want to be the best IWGP Women's Champion that there is. And I want it for my honor. The reason why that's so important, even though it's so bland, is not many have called out specifically the raising the bar and the level. This is why it's so important what Mercedes did, is taking that on as, that's the one I'm going after. I'm coming back. So I expect her to come back. What she does in the meantime, she led no idea to. Shorty was you could tell how serious kind of she took the win, and how much it means to her. This was a part of her quote unquote plan all along. And to focus more on the title itself, like Mayu Iwatani did for a while she wasn't chasing after the world title. So I don't expect Syuri in the Stardom world title picture because I expect her focus to be here. And she was really giving an interview to management. Syuri was talking to us. Syuri was talking to management, which is, I want to be on that show. I earned the right. I'm going to be there. And if she's not there, they will be taken to task. Because we all expect it. Right.
Well, go watch these two matches. Go at the very least, go watch King of Pro Wrestling. It was, it happened on the 13th of October. Go to New Japan World and watch it. It's absolutely worth it to see Konosuke Takeshita become crowned as the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion for the first time ever. And for 2 times, Syuri becomes the IWGP Women's World Champion. It's a great show, but those are the 2 highlights. Go watch it. When we come back, we're going to hit you with some WrestleDream quick picks, and then we're getting the hell out of here. All right. Well, Antoine, this weekend, we have WrestleDream coming up, which had been in my neck of the woods the last 2 years. And I'm not going to complain that it's in St. Louis because you know what? We got 2 great years of WrestleDream in Seattle. And
Y'all had
this
it back
show,
to back. Don't be greedy. Share.
Right. No, totally. Chicago, shut the fuck up, Chicago. So what this show felt, I've been on vacation. I've been watching kind of like at weird times and weird ways, but until this week, this show really felt like kind of on a short build. It didn't, have a lot of muscle behind it as far as the build went. And the matches were going to be great. We know that, know, but there needed to be a little more meat on the bone for me. And I think this last Dynamite this week, they really accomplished some of that I felt was missing. And I'm excited for the show now in a different way than I was maybe a week ago.
Yeah, it just felt like it at the time, and this it's not a knock. It's not a knock at all, but it just felt like a show where I would go, it's AEW, of course I'm going to watch. Not, oh man, it's WrestleDream. I can't wait to see it.
Right.
That build wasn't, it was lackluster. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just was.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that's, there's a lot of stories kind of in flux right now. And I think it seems to me, and I could be dead wrong because I usually am, it seems to me that there will be some storyline development in this show itself. Because there isn't as many main card matches as there usually is, which I think is interesting.
Did you notice that?
I did, yeah. And there's 8 announced matches for the main card, but they're also doing they're doing the tailgate brawl again, which serves as the de facto second hour of Collision. It's going to be on, now we know it will be on TNT and Max. So if you're in the UK or somewhere else, go find it. It will not be on YouTube. Go find it. Go find a feed or something, whatever,
Tony had to get to his 10 match count at least. Somehow,
at least. Well, and hey, our boy exceeded it, yes, as we knew he would. So I'm going to be out. I bought a bald eagle costume. It's going to be me riding a bald eagle at the No Kings protest this Saturday. And then right after the No Kings protest, I will be watching the tailgate brawl. And let's quickly run through that. We're going to make some quick picks who we think is going to win. Eddie and Hook are going to be, Eddie Kingston and Hook are going to be in action against a mystery team. And I think Eddie and Hook are going to win.
Eagle costume, huh? We're just going to bypass that. That's okay. That's a wonderful idea. I'm just getting the visual in my head, and it's just so many awesome questions. But it's for an awesome cause, people, and that's the point.
That's right. Well, hey, look, if the cops are going to attack a dude, not even the cops, like if ICE or somebody like that was going to attack a dude wearing a badass bald eagle, the bald eagle itself is wearing sunglasses, okay? But it's like one of those things where you like stand in it, but it looks like you're riding it. And my whole thing is like, if you're going to like arrest me or there's going to be some kind of weird Trumpian interference in No King's Day, like, whatever.
Let's do it
like,
in the most obvious way possible that people can have fun with for many years to come.
Yeah, well, and you're like attacking a dude wearing a bald eagle costume. Like,
exactly.
Come the fuck on, you dumbasses. Come on, dude. This isn't a war zone. This isn't a war zone. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Hey, big love to the people in Portland. You guys have shown us how to do it. Like,
yes, you do.
Wearing the frog costumes and the clown costumes and all that stuff. We are you walked so we could run. And this Saturday, I'm going to try and do you proud, Portland.
But I thought
and that's
that
from a
y'all were
Seattleite.
so in such unrest there, apparently.
Oh yeah, it's a war zone. It's a war zone.
The war zone known as Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing before the tailgate brawl. And then once the tailgate brawl starts, baby, we're digging in. Eddie and Hook are in a match versus, it just says they're in action. And so I assume that whoever they're in action with is going to lose.
Yeah.
Because they're not even announced.
Yeah, it does. The question marks don't really matter. They'll be there as like, it would be fun if they have like a little fun with it and have it be somebody's debut, like not a top level star, like right in the middle, like top tier, somewhere around jet speed level. That would be cool. But all Eddie does need to do is show the hell up. Yep. And Hook will be there.
Yep.
Great. But we all came here to see Eddie.
Yep. Eddie's going to be the man, as he always is. So we both got Eddie and Hook. Okay, next match, we got... I love the way they build this. It's Roderick Strong and the Conglomeration, which is Ishii, Orange Cassidy, and Kyle O'Reilly, are going to face all the Death Riders that aren't in the main event, basically. But I love that it's Roddy Strong and the Conglomeration. Like,
I do too. The fun is in the details.
Yeah. He's not a part of it. And I just love that he very stubbornly refuses to be a part of this. I'm going to go with the Conglomeration on this one and Roddy Strong. Just as a wild ass pick, I'm going to pick them because I think this show is either going to signal the end of the Death Riders or the beginning of the end of the Death Riders. I don't see them lasting much longer.
I think the Death Riders are at a fun and interesting time.
They are
someone so young like Daniel Garcia to be next to Wheeler Yuta, who, goodness gracious, he's still kind of young himself, you know? So I think a new phase of the Death Riders is coming. It's going to be kind of fun. And I love the little detail. He refuses no matter what with those wonderful glasses on. I love them every time he wears them as a four-eyed myself. And I earned it. Those are real.
Yes.
But I actually expect the Death Riders to win. I think a big win for Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta, like the young guys with the walking weapon himself, are just going to be fun.
Well, and I think
it'll be a fun time, but I think the Death Riders just spoil the fun.
Yeah, and I think, at the end of the day, like, you're probably right. I mean, on paper, that's the more logical pick. Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong are doing such a great job just being the fucking kick stool of the... what's a kick stool? I don't even know what that means. Being the punching bags of AEW.
Yes, they are.
They just lose, but they look good doing it,
They really do. And with Orange back, it just gives them such a level.
It does.
It'll be screwy. It will be fun and screwy.
Yeah.
The way they win. But to see them back at their full power is just fun. Minus our guy, of course, Briscoe.
Yes. Minus Mark Briscoe, right. Next match, and this is a really interesting one to me, is FTR is taking on Jet Speed. I think this match could go a lot of different ways. I do think FTR will probably win, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if Jet Speed pulled out an upset. It really wouldn't surprise me. But I'm going to pick FTR.
This was, out of any match on the card, this was actually the hardest one to pick. I just kept staring at it and just going, I don't know, man. It could go this way or this way or this way. Both are on such highs right now that I don't think it's a match that is going to hurt either team, no matter who wins. It's going to elevate them. What they're doing is they're showcasing strength is getting better and better at the tag team division. I'm with you. I think FTR wins, but if anything happens, I will not be surprised. But got to take my official pick.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree. And then we have another tag match finishing things up, which is Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford versus Willow and Harley Cameron. That's going to be a really fun match.
Yes.
I'm just excited to see that match in general. I've liked Penelope and Megan being involved with Stokely and with FTR, and I've liked Willow being involved with Jet Speed. You know, I think I'm liking that there's more like female, male kind of on-screen time happening across the board.
Right.
In
at the same
AEW.
Time, too.
Yeah, and it's been like about time for that to happen for like a million years. And you know, Joshi and I have been hammering that home forever, you know, is why aren't there any women in men's factions, or, you know, why does there have to be one or the other? And they're finally starting to blend together a little more. And I think that's really cool. But Willow with Jet Speed is just a no brainer. I don't know. I mean, I think probably Megan and Penelope are going to win this one. I don't know, but it really could go just as easily the other way.
Yeah, I think this match in particular is like, it's less about the result. I like what you're talking about, which is that type of interaction and the women being a part of the men faction and vice versa. The interaction, the intergender, all of it. We all forget the very short-lived faction with one of my favorite wrestlers, Sonny Kiss. Yes. And random, but it kind of reminds me of that in sort of a way. The Mythics, I'm trying to get it off the ground as a nickname for the tag team. Something Greek associated. If y'all got any suggestions, that would be pretty awesome. I'm even thinking, I don't know yet, but there's really a name for them. But being managed by Stokely Hathaway, Willow's just awesome with Jet Speed, and I don't think there's no harm here to Harley or Willow. I think it's going to be Megan. Yeah, Megan and Penelope.
Well, and both teams have somebody who can take a pin pretty easily. You know, Harley can take a pin without losing anything, and Penelope can take a pin without losing anything. So it could go either way, but I think I'm just going to gamble and say Bayne and Ford.
Same here. And just as a side note, something that you just said about both those ladies, they really are bulletproof. And I think that is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Harley's one of the biggest stars in the women's division, and she doesn't even win that much. You know, it's just, that's not the appeal of her character. You know what I mean? Is not that she's like, she just beats everybody. She's like, she loses a lot, but like, it makes no difference. She's just so goddamn entertaining. Moving on to the main show. This is a show that, when you really look at it on paper, it's going to be a great show. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I think they added a little juice that was missing this week. Gotta say, AEW production on Dynamite this week, with some of the some of the vignettes and stuff that they did were incredible. But we're starting off with Hurt Syndicate versus The Demand in a Tornado Trios match. This is a match we've seen before, and then we just had the Gates of Agony against Bobby and Shelton on Dynamite. And people are asking, why are they wrestling so much? And then you're going to do it again on a pay-per-view. I'm asking the same thing. I feel like something bigger has got to happen in this match for it to be justified being on the show. What are your thoughts on Antoine?
That was a quick turnaround. Like,
real quick.
They just literally had a knockdown, drag out street fight.
Right.
I'm actually kind of surprised just a little bit, and sorry, my boy, but MVP turning around that quick and knowing he's going to have to put on his best on a pay-per-view at his more advanced age than his teammates.
Right.
So I don't know what to expect here. I'm happy it's still happening.
Yeah.
Because I love both teams.
Me too.
But something really has to happen. I'm going to have to agree with you 100%. Like something out of the box has to happen to make this one stand out. I'm just going to go with the Hurt Syndicate. Just
So
because they've been trading wins and losses already. So this just continues that on.
I'm going to go with the Demand because I think that's the only real result that would make anything different is if the Demand somehow, Gates of Agony got this kind of cheap win over Bobby and Shelton on Dynamite, which I think they could have made a bigger deal out of, honestly, because that's the first tag match they've ever lost. If in a straight up match, GOA would be the tag champs right now,
right.
Because nobody's ever beaten them. Now, the biggest deal will be when somebody pins Bobby Lashley. That'll be the bigger deal because Shelton's taking some L's, But I think Ricochet, if you wanted to elevate Ricochet and the Demand and make them a bigger deal, and it's really seemed like the Hurt Syndicate's interested in elevating these guys. I think the Demand should win, but we'll see. We'll just have to see what happens. I guess the difference this time would be you can't pin MVP. You got to pin one of the main dudes if you really want to, if you wanted to put the Demand over strong and make a big difference, you'd pin Bobby or Shelton.
What an amazing overview, because to me, that is the only way to make it out of the box special.
Yeah.
Is to leave everybody's mouth hanging open going, what just happened?
Right.
And what just happened clean.
Right. Well, yeah. I'm not sure that'll happen.
Yeah, clean. I'm thinking just
clean-ish.
A foot on the rope.
Yeah.
Ish.
Or can you imagine Ricochet going, aha, while he's covering Bobby Lashley and the 3 count happens? Holy shit, that would be mind blowing.
That would be an eternal meme.
Yes.
But you're right. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's the only way to make the match out of the box more than just an elevated television rematch.
It almost seems like it's designed to make you go why is this happening again so soon? And then something crazy like that happens, where it's like a finish you just never saw. But here's a match that I had no idea would be on the show, and I am so excited for it. I hope they get some real time. Tekla versus Jamie Hayter. This could go either way. This is another match that could go either way. I love the way that they've portrayed Tekla so far. I like that she's starting to do promos. I think she'll get a lot better at them as time goes. But they're finally giving her a mic and letting her talk a little bit. I think this match really is in furtherance of Blood and Guts. And so I'm going to pick Tekla because I think the babyfaces will win at Blood and Guts. So you need to get more heat on the heels. And I think it'll be very dirty, but I think Tekla's going to win.
Great point about Blood and Guts. The funny thing is about Tekla, just as a side note, coming from Stardom, they're pretty free reign when it comes to their interviews, and they do subtitle them. And she would just let on loose. And I think that they took the approach that they did for her benefit and for their benefit to not always get fined. So she had to learn to slow down just a little bit and learn to keep it, on a certain level at 8 p.m. in front of the world. I love the direction she has finally gotten to, where she is taking complete control of her character. She's talked about how much she likes the Triangle Madness because of how much she has in common with those 2 young ladies too.
Yeah.
And I stare at the match, and Jamie's just coming back, and Jamie's awesome as heck. And I think what helps the division is to keep them guessing. And I went with Tekla here too. Yeah,
I think it's Tekla's time right now, and she might be built up as a challenger for Statlander or for Mercedes. but I think that she's going to get the win, probably hook or by crook. It's going to happen one way or the other.
Yes.
The next match we have to talk about is Brodito versus Kazuchika Okada and Konosuke Takeshita, the unified champion and the IWGP World Champion, tag teaming together against the AEW tag champions.
What a dream, by the way.
Incredible. But I think it can only go one way. I think Brodito has to take this. And it's going to be because Okada and Takeshita can't get along. The foreshadowing's been there for a long time. I loved the bit this week where it was Don Callis' birthday. Don's in a great mood. They have a big surprise for Don. They pull the sheet off the TV, and it's, Takeshita with a pre-taped segment, because you saw the little movie file name on the TV. And and Takesha's like, I'm grateful for everything you've done for me. He's kind of acting like a baby face, And Okada turns off the TV and goes, button. I pressed the wrong button, so sorry. But he says it in a much more serious way than he did the first time when he was in the Elite. The jealousy is real with Okada. And you could tell he's starting to feel the heat from Takeshita. And that was some great progression without having to do a whole lot. They're telling a great story. Brodito's going to take this one, but I think something big's going to happen here between Takeshita and Okada. And I think Takeshita will get written off either on this show, the Callis family will turn on him, or it'll happen on Dynamite after the show. But I think that babyface Takeshita run's coming, and it's going to hit like crack when it does, because holy shit. I mean, that's a big, big deal. And, I think Takeshita has all the potential in the world to go as far as he wants to go.
Absolutely.
In America or Japan, and Japan. I mean, both. He's already the friggin' world champion of the biggest Japanese promotion there is. So, I think my guess is that Okada screws over Takeshita, or Takeshita screws over Okada, one way or the other, and one of them takes the pin very unexpectedly to Brodito.
I said a lot about Takeshita earlier. I'd like to focus, for me, on Okada here.
Yep.
There was something that was said on the show that I loved that they played on, and it tells you kind of their relationship. Okada treating Takeshita like he's almost like he's his senpai.
Right.
And Japan, once a senpai, you're always a senpai. I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, doesn't matter. And he's treating him in that manner, even though he's not, which shows kind of a lack of, you're not on my level.
Right.
Is how he always looks at Takeshita. They take that kind of seriously. Oh, some outsider from DDT won the title I helped make famous. It's going to boil over at some point. And I don't know if Okada actually screws him out. I think they're both so prideful that they won't go that far. But Bandito will win this match so that they can write Takeshita off of TV for a few months.
Yeah. I think Takeshita will be gone for a while, and the only way to do it, in my opinion, what I thought was interesting is during the Callis bit, when Okada cut the TV, was you saw Kyle Fletcher react very annoyed. He was very annoyed. You noticed that, didn't you? I did. And I think I'm very curious where this is all going. I'm not even going to predict where I think it's going. The only thing I think is for sure is Takeshi's going to turn babyface. But I'm kind of wondering if Fletcher's going to turn babyface with him. Or if Fletcher's going to act annoyed and then turn his back and become a super heel. You know what I mean? Or
they're so annoyed because the two of them can't get their act together that you just kick them both out.
Yeah, could be. It'll be interesting to see, but I think we're in agreement. Brodito takes this one. we got the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express in the $500,000 match. I loved the desperation of Nick Jackson. Tony, open the door. We need money. Nick blew all the money at the casino. I think this is going to be a really fun match. I got Jurassic Express taking this one. I think Kenny might show up to balance the scale a little bit when the Bucks try to cheat.
I wish they would have thrown in like something to go at the casino. Like they are known sneakerheads. They earn the title sneakerheads. Yep. They're at the store. They're at the Nike store, and they got like 10 pair in their hand. They're collided, and they call Tony, and they start bitching and complaining. That would have been so hilarious. But I loved that segment. I had actually a hard time kind of picking this one, but I just can't see like Jurassic Express getting back together with Jack Perry and not winning this match.
That's exactly how I feel. Is like they just got back together. Everybody's really excited right now. Plus, they're doing this story with Kenny and Jack, where it's like
exactly,
yeah. And I think Jack kind of proved to Kenny this week on Dynamite, like, hey, I do have your back, and I'm sorry. And maybe Kenny returns the favor, without them having to go much deeper than that, It's just like, hey, okay, you made it good. I'll make it good. Now we're good, And then Kenny can move on to something else. Is my thought, I mean, if the Golden Lovers were going to happen, which clearly they're not now, I think maybe there could have been more to it. But now it just feels like they're going to have to find something for Kenny now. And it's really too bad. And also a big shout out to Kota Ibushi, one of the greatest of all time. Peace to you in your recovery, sir. Fucking A. He's looked so good since he's been back. And I'm just so sad for him.
He was in the best shape I had seen him in years since he won the IWGP. When they changed the title from just heavyweight to world heavyweight.
Yes. Yep.
He was at his apex, and it's just been downhill ever since. And you feel for the guy so much. And he was in such great shape. I almost wonder if it's like that thing where I compare it to like a thick rubber band, where it's your body is so sculpted and perfect that it's so thin that all it takes is one wrong step and the whole thing falls apart.
Well, you go back to 2018, you watch that match with Kenny and Okada, the 2 out of 3 falls match where Kenny finally wins the title, right? And look at Kenny in that match. Like, he is a god. He looks like a god in that match, right?
Yes.
And then you go and you look at Takeshita in like 2019, 2020, right? Just, I mean, have you ever seen another human being in better shape than that? Like, they just both looked like gods, and that was their absolute peak, right? And you can't get any better than that, and you can't stay at that level very long. And so, both of them are kind of broken down. Both of them, I will say, I thought Kenny looked better in his match this last week than he's looked since the Gabe Kidd match. He looked like I had noticed he wasn't really leaving his feet very much for the V triggers when he would hit them. And
yes.
Yeah, I had noticed that quite a bit. And he looked a little more comfortable this week. And maybe it was just because he was only in a 6-man match. I'm not complaining at all. Like,
no.
Kenny's already given me the greatest matches I've ever seen.
I don't care. I'll take whatever I can get from Kenny.
Dude, Kenny Omega's the GOAT for me. So, like, I'm good with whatever he's got left, I'm grateful for whatever's left in the tank. But it's great to see him in a little bit. He seems a little more comfortable in the ring. We'll see how long that lasts, because I know it's very day to day at this point.
Yeah, so even if he does get quote unquote involved in that match, I don't expect it much from a physical standpoint.
No.
I expect all his energy to be saved for those big moments.
Yes. And they've also teased stuff with the Bucks and the Callis family, them being involved in the Callis family. It was a while ago. They said, no matter what, Don, we're not joining your family. And then remember, they attacked Kenny, and the Bucks looked kind of ambivalent about it and kind of like, oh, should they? what should we do here? You know, you can see they still
for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, they have love for Kenny. It's not, you can see the love isn't totally gone, but
this shit isn't new, guys. These guys they have been a trip doing this crap for the last decade, loving each other, fighting each other, loving each other, hating each other. Mm-hmm. Now they're going to be back together again. It's going to eventually happen.
It'll eventually happen. I'd like to see it take some more time, personally. I love broke-ass Young Bucks. They found a way to keep it interesting. And honestly, I think Kenny does his best work when he's not tied up with the Young Bucks.
Me too.
It's just, I've determined that the Elite are actually better when they're not together. All of them are better. Hangman's better. The Bucks are better. They're all just they've got a little more edge to them when they're not buddies on screen.
They're all allowed to have their own shine.
Yeah. And I love the fucking Elite. They're my all-time favorite faction. And my favorite part is when they're not together. So, that's just kind of the way it works. Next match, we got Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe for the TNT title. I'm going Kyle Fletcher all the way on this one. He is just not ready to drop that TNT title. I don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening whatsoever. It's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. I think Mark Briscoe is going to come out this bad boy looking great as he does. I think it leads to actually more positive direction for him. He's going to put on such a performance.
Yeah.
To get set up to be in another title picture.
Mm-hmm.
I say another because Kyle is not losing. And Kyle's mission, and I think AEW's mission, is to take that TNT title, like the TBS title, and really stand on business on its importance.
Yeah.
It's important for their partners too, guys. It's synergy. So they got to keep that high profile.
Yeah. And I think Kyle wins. I think he's going to be a dominant champion for quite a while. So
yes,
we'll see. But I think Kyle's taking this one pretty conclusively. Now, this is a match that I was joking with you about yesterday. Chris Statlander versus Tony Storm. And I do actually get where you're coming from. You have the fear of would they do something really dumb and have Tony win the belt again?
Wrestling, we all know wrestling will just wrestling sometimes.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I get it. Tony's beaten everybody, right? She really has just beaten everybody. Chris Statlander ain't losing. I think Tony is doing the right thing that ex-champions should do, which is conclusively, unequivocally putting Stat over. Stat won the TBS title kind of similarly. She beat Jade, who no one else could beat, right?
Right.
But she kind of beat her in this weird way where it was after a match and Jade was like, that was too easy. Who else is going to come out? It
didn't feel complete.
It didn't feel complete, and then they wrestled Jade's last match, Jade's best match in AEW, by the way, and Stat beat her clean. Just 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, no questions asked. I think it's going to be the same thing with Tony, and Tony's going to raise her hand at the end of the match, and Tony's going to move on to other things. I don't see there's no other outcome for me. You're crazy if you have Tony win. Crazy. You're out of your fucking mind. It has to be Stat. To me, it really feels like they're circling around Stat and going, she's our new main eventer,
I'd like to clarify and say there is no other right way.
No, I know. You were terrified at the prospect of Tony winning.
Just the fact that door is always open. I didn't say it because I didn't want to put the label on her.
Right.
Tony, that is.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been saying for quite a while that what is she without the belt? And she's starting to allude to that herself.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of a probably prime-ish John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
John Cena and Edge. It kind of reminded me of that when Adam was Edge. They needed to have the title, so they were trading it back and forth and back and forth. And John Cena would lose it for 2 months and bring it back. And I was like, that's not Tony. There
No.
is no other right way forward for this division.
Right.
If Tony wins, it stagnates.
Right.
If Stat wins, it opens the door for everything, legitimizes her
Mm-hmm.
in a way that needs to happen because she has earned the rights to be the top dog. She's been there since almost day one.
Right.
And a certain Mercedes is always waiting in the wings, and they had some excellent matches earlier in the year.
Yes, they did.
So I really think, especially with the synergy with Thekla and Jamie Hayter on the card, that Chris will win in a dominant fashion, not in the entire match, but the finish will be clean and no questions asked.
I agree.
I really hope Tony does that. I think she's the kind of person that will do that. She will raise her hand and walk out and give her the time she needs. And this is time for Tony to give back, and tag team division's waiting.
That's 100% what I think is going to happen. I think it's, either Mina and Tony or Tony and Windsor or somebody like that. There's plenty of opportunities there, so like, I think, go have Tony legitimize that division for a while. And, she'll be champ again someday. I don't think it should be anytime soon. And
no. 4 is enough already.
Yeah. Well, especially when you have so many people who've just never even held it before, and the division's as good as it is. And you've still got Jamie Hayter who's held it once, and you've got all these other people who are extremely good. Now,
think about the number of originals or people who have been there before her that have never held that belt.
Right. I will say I'm not a big believer in like everybody gets a turn as the champion. Like, I don't believe that. Like, you've got to get to a certain level. Like, if Britt Baker ever came back, I don't think you could be assured.
No.
Even if her and Tony Khan resolve whatever shit is between them, I don't think you could just guarantee she would be champion again, because I don't know that she can hang. And that's not a diss on her. She's just not at that level. Like, she's just not.
And not give a turn to everyone sort of sense, but there were wrestlers when she got there that hadn't held that belt that were good enough to have held that belt.
For sure.
Now, to even take that out, just 4 times, she is that over, that bulletproof. I see so many possibilities. It just opens so many doors with
I agree.
Chris winning.
Yep. Well, and you need to freshen up the world title picture. And I think you need to freshen up, honestly, the TBS title picture, which, just real quick, Mercedes did appear briefly on Dynamite last night as we record this. And she said it's time to celebrate, but she didn't go out to the ring or do anything because she's officially going to be the longest reigning TBS champion.
Woo!
I kind of feel like that was like signposting that something's going to change soon. I want Mercedes to drop that belt because I want Mercedes to chase the world title, because I want Mercedes and Stat to face each other again. But I don't want Mercedes to be the TBS champion when they do it. I think Mercedes is and maybe that's even the reason this Tekla and Jamie Hayter match is happening, is they're kind of signposting that she has, her future, maybe the person who's going to dethrone her wins that match, but Statlander has beaten the people. If Stat puts Tony away, then Stat that's part of that story, is like, I beat Tony Storm. You couldn't do that. You can't win the big one, Mercedes. And you start that whole thing, even though Mercedes has beat Stat twice. It's like,
and she'll hold that over her.
Yeah, exactly. And you can have a really interesting story between those two.
I absolutely totally agree. And want to add to it. I recently did some research and I posted it online because I really wanted to know about every single promotion she's holding the title for, how long they've been around, when they hold their shows, weekly, monthly, however, to see, okay, what really is she doing
Mm-hmm.
with all these belts? Is it just for her? It's not.
No.
All of these companies are reestablishing their women's divisions, and these are a lot of young wrestlers who look up to her.
Mm-hmm.
One of the titles she is scheduled to actually defend very soon in Poland, and I think that's why she doesn't have a match here. I really truly expect or predict 2026 those titles will start getting dropped back. I expect all of those titles, she's going to lose them one after one. Then comes the TBS title, and then she's going after the world title.
Well, and I think that's how you make the world title mean even more, right? Is like it's worth more than all those 10 titles combined. You know, it's
exactly.
Like, you know, and that's where Mercedes like has to realize like it's not about how many belts you have. It's about having the best belt, the biggest belt, the most important belt. And that's, you know, if you're AEW, that's the AEW Women's World Championship, right?
And the greatest thing about this story, the greatest thing about it all is she's accomplishing both goals at the same exact time.
100%.
Which was to elevate women's wrestling around the world, which AEW has allowed her to do and wants to do because they want the partnerships. They believe in that. And they're going to be able to elevate all those promotions and then come around and elevate themselves even more.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's the way it should be done, you know? And it's a good faith effort on all ends, you know? The next match we got is one that got put together kind of in a hurry, kind of out of nowhere, but you kind of understand why, too. There's no MJF. There's no Swerve. There's no Will Ospreay. There's no Jay White. They got a lot of people out right now. And this speaks to the power of Samoa Joe, that you can just slot this guy in as a trios champion or in the main event of your singles titles anytime you want, and he's always legit. Always legit.
Everybody goes, oh, that's the match? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I'm in. Because I want to see Hangman Page versus Samoa Joe. They've cut some great promos on each other. Samoa Joe is kind of acting dickish, but not necessarily like a heel, you know? And I think that's cool. Joe can just do anything. He's climbed my GOAT list so much in his 40s. It's crazy because he is that good. Remember when he was in WWE and
those dark days.
Those were dark days. And they were doing that run with Lesnar where he's just killing everybody. And then they put him in a program with Joe. And he just continued. And Joe just generated so much interest in that feud between him and Lesnar because he seemed so legit as a challenger. Yes. And then they just jobbed him out in 5 minutes to Lesnar.
That hurt my freaking heart because they did such a marvelous job showing how Joe is just awesome being Joe.
Samoa Joe is a timeless wrestler that will be remembered forever. Like he is just one of those guys who is so many people's one of their very favorite wrestlers. He's one of mine. And the dude, you know, is at an age, you know, a lot of people thought he was retiring before this AEW run. And he's done some of the best stuff.
Shoot, after that Lesnar feud, when he started doing commentary back there and getting praised for it, people thought his career was over.
To see this match where it is, I'm just excited to see what comes next for Samoa Joe after this. And for Hangman, does Samoa Joe go harder heel? Do they kind of just do the mutual respect thing? It feels like that's where Tony and Chris are going too. So I can't imagine it's going to be both of them doing it, but we'll see. We'll see. But I think Hangman Page is definitely winning this match. I don't think there's any question about that.
I don't think there's any question. Hangman will win. This is going to help really he should, of course.
Yeah.
Period. I just can't see them undercutting just like Chris so soon. I expect the year of the Hangman to come up in 2026. Joe is so timeless. He's one of those rare people who, to me, he's better now than then. This version is the apex of him. And he strikes such legit fear. Like, he is a legit badass. He's on my list of people all across the world I would not want to meet in a dark alley. And you can slot him in anytime throughout the year, because it was around the same time when Swerve won, if I remember correctly. And it's almost like Joe has gotten to that level of, are you really the champ if you did not fight Joe that year?
Right.
And he just came out and it'll be interesting to see where they go. I hope that they go with the mutual respect and that Joe is just being Joe's badass.
Right.
And not turn quote unquote heel, even though he's great as a heel. But I expect just a slobber knocker. Yeah. Shout out to Jim Ross.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hopefully JR can call some matches on this show. The last match that we have to talk about, Antoine, is what kind of feels like the main event. It's been promoted that way because I think some crazy shit is going to happen. Is Jon Moxley is going to face Darby Allin in an I Quit match. I think these two are going to do horrendous, horrible, terrible, barbaric things to each other.
That we're all going to cheer.
That we're going to love. They've been really driving the point home that Darby will not give up. And these two had a promo, face-to-face, no physicality, behind the prison, like, glass, where you talk to an inmate. And you're like, who's on which side? Almost. It looks like this abandoned building. It was such an inspired bit. Just great talking. Great. It sold the whole thing for me. Like whatever loop needed to be closed between these two was closed. It was fantastic.
With that one segment.
Yes. They sold the whole thing. They sold that Moxley is going to use every lever at his disposal. I think there's no question Darby Allin's going to win this match. I don't think you can do it any other way. Jon Moxley is going to say, I quit. And I don't know what kind of demented shit Darby is going to have to do to this man to make him say, I quit. But I think it's going to fundamentally alter both guys. Darby's going to be in that top guy slot, finally. And he'll have earned it. And I think that, WrestleDream last year ended with Orange Cassidy, Darby, and Daniel Garcia kind of sitting there looking like, what the fuck, after Bryan Danielson got retired, right? And lo and behold, Darby brings up Bryan Danielson again. And Moxley's like, still talking about Danielson? We're still doing this? It's all coming back around again, Very, very interesting. But I don't think there's any other way this can go. I think Darby Allin is going to win, and it's going to be fantastic. I think it's not an exploding death match, with, the infamous terrible ending to that match that they had years ago.
No, they don't need that.
But they don't need to bill it that way. I think they're going to do some really crazy shit, though. They've teased Molotov cocktails. They've teased all kinds of crazy shit. Something crazy is going to happen in this match. You got two guys who love taking violence to the next level. And I think this will fundamentally alter the structure of the Death Riders. I don't think it can go any other way.
I'll try to keep this short. I promise. I remember when Moxley first came to AEW, and he showed up here and there, right? The Moxley that we see now, because I just have to bring it around there, came when he was in the G1. And I always knew he was like that brutal, but to see him in that G1 and coming back from it and how he's been ever since, especially this last year, has been absolutely, he's done a 180. He's so brutal, sadistic. He showed the level of brutality we always kind of wanted to see. but he was just kind of just the crazy wild guy over there in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Darby is what I like to call my favorite crazy white boy. I love that boy. He is just as tall as me. Yes, about 5'9". We'll look right at each other. I'd love to buy him a drink one day. And even if he didn't drink, I'll drink it for him. And he can just sit there and we can talk. It's October. It's almost Halloween. I am so excited for this match because I expect the most craziest shit. Not an exploding ring, but they're going to do such bad things to each other.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to see how he makes Moxley say, I quit. Because I agree with you. There is no way for this match to go other than Darby to win. Moxley secretly likes putting over the young guys.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. I think we've lost sight of that fact. He loves to put them over. He'll wrestle them multiple times because this is not the first time him and Darby have done this. This has been going on for a while. Now we're here again. And like you said, I expected to close the show and close it with such a bang and put Darby in such a stratosphere up into that upper echelon where you're not going to be surprised if he's looking at challenging for another title besides the TNT championship or be the one to take it from Kyle Fletcher. With Hangman being champion, with Hangman winning, it's time for an entirely new group of challengers. Not the same old people. It's time. It is Darby's time. Yeah. I don't care about that pillar nonsense.
No.
He has earned his right as just one of the best wrestlers and willing to do anything on earth to prove it, to be there now.
Right. No, and I think that fundamentally Darby, I think this is the swan song of Jon Moxley as the guy in AEW. And he got his dominant run, where he was, he got his dominant run where he was the unqualified top guy. Right.
Unqualified.
This whole last year until Hangman, nobody could get to him. And somebody finally has. And it's time for him to do the honors, maybe disappear for a while, come back. But I think it is time for something just brand new. And it's time for new people to take the mantle and really run with it. It's time for the Hangmans and the Swerves and the Darbys and the Takeshitas and the Banditos and all those guys and the Jay Whites, to take the ball and run with it and be on top. They're ready. They're ready. Kyle Fletcher.
They are officially ready. I really think these next two pay-per-views are going to tell you what they plan or intend to do for next year.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, my man, that's it for WrestleDream. We have celebrated Konosuke Takeshita. You best go learn a little bit about Saree and Syuri if you don't know anything about them. And you better be watching WrestleDream because on Sunday, Brett Michelle, Professor Degree, and me, and God knows who else, is going to be talking all about WrestleDream. We're going to be reviewing it on another special edition of Sit Down the Hard Way. But till then, I'm Blade Daly.
And I am Antione Raphael.
Pro wrestling forever.
Sickos Club. Sickos Club.